Hi. So what I'm going to cover today might seem a little bit convoluted, but it's just going to be in the series of everything that you're going to be hearing about Sandy Hook and just weird information. What I have is the report that was initially taken. Even though they said the report date, of course, you all know what Sandy Hook is. If you're visiting me here now for the first time, just go back and look at some of the other videos or just type in a search report because I'm just jumping right into the event. So, and of course, all the links will be in the description box. The state of Connecticut, and these are official documents, okay, from the that was submitted to FOIA, which you could download as well. On 12/28 to 1/4, the Newtown police officer took steps to have the Sandy Hook Elementary School cleaned and secured. Please see the attached page. Now, I spent considerable time on this, and this is just maybe like a 0.001% of cross-referencing, and this is why it's good to go back years later, years later, because there's all this information floating around out there. And I'm just going to focus on a couple key things that are just odd, that are just really kind of odd to me. Maybe you can tell me if they're odd to you as well. So, this is the school cleanup. These are people that are involved in the school cleanup. I'll just read part of this. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it'll be a very long video, and I really don't want to do that to you guys. You can go in the links and read it all yourself if you want to have more in-depth information. So, this officer was contacted, and I didn't even go through and pull up all the names, but there was just a few that kind of stood out to me. On 12/31, the officer met Wilson of Clean Harbors at the school. All members of his team were instructed not to bring phones, cameras, or other electronic devices into the school. They all stated they were understood and complied. The workers included, and they give you a list of names. If you go on the FBI page, everything is redacted. This, you kind of have to go on the Connecticut State Police page and just like a meta junk data search online. So, Jake, Lori, Bill Wass, Matt Jones, William Wendal, Tom Wilson, and James Pilul. The truck drivers were Christopher Drugonis and Kevin Tingley. I monitored the work, and they left the school at 15:30 hours, 2:30. So, then it says on the second, this is very interesting, isn't it, New Year's Eve? Remember these names here, and I'm going to show you them very quickly. These are the truck drivers, Christopher Drugonis and Kevin Tingley. So let's start with Kevin Tingley. Kevin Tingley, this is a guy out from South Carolina, and I'll link this in. Dynamic, results-oriented senior executive director with invaluable cross-functional experience, gained in operations, business development, sales, client management, and team development. Possesses distinct skills in leading and developing multi-million-dollar businesses with multiple service offerings within the world's most demanding markets. It's very impressive, isn't it, for a truck driver? Innovative with strong business acumen, strong team leadership, communication skills, resourceful, highly analytical, with a proven track record in delivering optimal results in challenging environments, with a positive work ethic, energy, and desire to continually build on success. Core competencies: skilled in developing strategy, planning, and organizational change and development. Combines developed problem-solving and analytical skills with a common-sense approach and sound judgment. Self-starter, highly motivated, results-driven, ambitious, with a can-do attitude. Proven experience in leadership, coaching, and mentoring of high-performance teams with diverse skill sets and abilities. It sounds fantastic, but so broad, doesn't it? Experienced in business development and building sales revenue, proactive approach to establishing, developing, maintaining client relationships, skilled in managing and consulting startup and entrepreneurial projects, effective interpersonal and communication skills, able to liaise confidentiality at all levels. Strong expertise in portfolio management, mergers, acquisitions, private equity, capital markets, and securities trading. Some achievements. Well, I'll tell you what hit my Goldman Sachs grossed over $12 million, and successful management of over $30 million, a risk management firm. Yes, it did say South Carolina, but let's see, and a lot of searching. Employment, current, this was for 2013 to present. Source Capital Group, Westport, Connecticut, as the managing director. Duties: identify, source, and development of new corporate clients for investment banking and capital market services. Serve as relationship manager, working directly with senior level executives of corporate and institutional clients. It's very vague, isn't it? But very specific. Successfully manage deal structuring, capital raising, private placements, and special situations. Consulting and business advisory. Raised seed investment funds for social networking site. Advised the following companies. There. Let's see, where else has he been? New York, Saratoga, New York. I'm not going to go through and read the whole thing. New York, 2005. The Deutsche Bank in New York, 2000, 2002. Goldman Sachs from 1995 to 2000. And 1995, Tulane University for education. Full athletic scholarship, football. What's our name? Kevin Tingley. What was he? A truck driver? Truck drivers from Wilson. He was at Clean Harbors at the school. Let's go on and make sure. Let's just look a little more. Here's his profile on LinkedIn. I don't have an account there, but you can look at that. All the links in the description box. Well, he mentions Tulane in this, right? And, well, Tulane in here. Yeah, Tulane. So that seems to be the same person. Let's go to report review from Truthfinder. Well, South Carolina, New York, Stamford, Connecticut, Brooklyn, New Jersey, New York, New Orleans, Richardson, Texas, lots of different places. And information, assets. Our data sources have uncovered assets for Kevin Tingley in South Carolina worth over $1.1 million. Kevin Tingley, on November the 13th, 2012, to precede December the 14th, 2012. Kevin Tingley of EPA's EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, there's a little thing flying around here, Environmental Protection Agency, Water Security Division, spoke about soon-to-be published document, Bridging the Gap, coordinating between state primacy agencies and state emergency management agencies, creating a published document that has been a joint effort between this security committee and the EPA's other security committee. And there's a lot of links that kind of go through with this, that goes into emergency kind of FEMA management, emergency management. Goal is to identify collaborative opportunities between public water and emergency management when an incident requires state involvement. Tingley also spoke about state and federal exercise initiatives using both tabletop and full-scale functional models. This kind of operation sort of ties into his resume, I would say. Interesting, at this same event, again, November the 13th, Lori Mathau of the Connecticut Drinking Water Program shared some great lessons learned and next steps as a result of two major storm events in her state, Hurricane Irene and Winter Storm Alfred. I don't know how many different layers and levels of all these people that are intertwined, but I'm just showing you the names. I'm putting that together. And there's more interesting with that. Let's go. This is the publication that would have come out as Tingley's position at the EPA. Another name that was the truck drivers, Christopher Drugonis, for the minutes regular meeting, April 4th, 2016. This is in Connecticut. Election officers, this is for, and you'll see why, a truck driver. He was a truck driver. However, it's a very interesting position he has in Connecticut. And I think it's Seymour. Yeah, Seymour Town Hall. Election officers, Bruce Baker temporarily makes Christopher Drugonis Chairman of the Board of Directors. Well, you're like, well, what? So what? What do you do? What do you do when you're chairman of the Board of Directors for the Board of Assessments and Appeals? Again, the levels of things. People have a lot of power in your community. If you've ever gone to a council meeting, who can do what? Let's see. Let's just go to the next one. September 18th, 2017. That's pretty recently. What's, Christopher Drugonis doing now? Let's see. Well, it looks like he accepts the minutes, and where else was it? Let's see. Christopher Drugonis here, he motions to reduce an assessed value down. Well, there was another bigger one. It was like an almost $1 million home. There's all the minutes are posted, and you can see basically he has the power to motion to here, let's see. Christopher motions to deny the appeal based on the assessor's recommended lot. You have the power to grant people permission to lower taxes here. Okay. Motions to reduce the appraised value of $807,000 to $699,000. Anyway, I think that's interesting that this guy a few years back was listed again in this report here for being truck drivers of the cleanup crew that went into the Sandy Hook Elementary School to remove this 63 boxes of biological waste that was removed, along with computer equipment and so forth. So I look up another name, just, because some of these names are very, like I'm going to find a Tom Wilson there, right? It's going to take me forever. But I look up this name, Todd Vaslieu, and I always look at the crime, because you're going to have a lot more grunt people doing things than you're going to have people that are going to be going anywhere. So let's see. On July 3rd, 2011, it looks like there was in Waterford, Texas, and this came up because this is the name alias of, this is the alias, an alias of Todd, an alias of Todd. It matched for an alias of him in search. So he was charged Friday with disorderly conduct, fighting, and criminal violation of a protective order. I wonder how many people get involved in false flag events that have criminal records and that are easily persuaded. Let me say a disclaimer, and I should probably say this first. I'm not accusing anyone in this that I'm naming. I am simply pointing out factual information that I'm finding that is relative to the Sandy Hook Elementary people. And let's show you in proximity of that. That's a house I haven't quite connected in yet, but time. Just so you see, a lot of people, when they, if you look at Connecticut, and I was talking about Bridgewater before, and here's Westport. This is where lots of fancy people live, and the people that I just mentioned to you kind of are in and around, right? And then you kind of go up here, and you have Newtown. There's Newtown, Sandy Hook. You see, should I blow that up? Can you see that? There's Sandy Hook, Newtown, Connecticut. And then right here, you have your Bridgewater right here, which at some point I'm going to culminate a lot of things that kind of tie back to that. Just loose associations, I think, are very interesting at the end of the day. So yeah, those are very interesting. It's an interesting series of events, isn't it now? I mean, I think it is. I have, if you go into the FBI files and so forth, it'll be very frustrating for you because most of the information you're going to come across, everything's going to be blanked out, like pretty much everything. And you can see some chicken scratch in places, but you can see that everything's blanked out. And what you can receive, though, like this is the investigation still going on. You know, this is into March, and yeah. But I didn't go that route. You know, I have files that I had backed up, and they were in other locations. So, okay, all the links in the description box with that. So you can leave me your comments and tell me what you think. Why, you know, Christopher Drugoins and Kevin Tingley, how they're truck drivers. All right, have a good night. Bye.